All this talk about 20s is making me really hot. Okay. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing so well. Today's video I'm actually really excited about. It's something that I've been talking a lot about with family and friends, and it's been super insightful for me to know how everyone is navigating their 20s, and I thought it'd be a great video idea to share with you guys who are going through a similar transition. And yeah, as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about life advice in the 20s. So I'm going to be talking about everything from things that I wish I knew, things that I've learned along the way, and just anything and everything really. And there's a lot, let me tell you, there's definitely a lot. So I did turn 25 in September, and I don't know if it is because of the pandemic or just hitting that milestone that's led me to really sit down and reflect, but I've been having a hell of a lot of revelations recently, and I just thought it'd be great for me to get them out there and share them with you guys who are going through a similar transition. I also wanted to find out what everyone else's thoughts were, so I asked my Instagram followers to let me know any advice they'd give to people in their 20s or just things that they wish they knew. Stay tuned towards the end of the video as there's some good bits in there. But without further ado, let's just get into the video. So number one, which just so happens to be one of the hardest things that I've had to experience and realise, is that comparison really is the killer of joy. And I say this because I spent a lot of time comparing myself to people. I wanted to be skinnier, more talented, funnier, smarter than everyone, and it led me to compare myself to images on social media, to my friends, to family, to siblings, like everyone. The only thing that ever did for me was make me sad, anxious and self-loathing. So this was definitely worse in my early 20s, a time where we're supposed to have everything all figured out. We're supposed to be saving up for a house or to being on our way to being a CEO of a company, which is just not the case. And what I've realised is that we're all in the same boat. Like, even though it doesn't seem like it, we're all just living on earth trying to do the same thing, trying to figure out what it is that makes us happy and follow through with that, basically. And I also found that the more open you are about how you feel with other people, the more open they are, and the more you realise that everyone is feeling the exact same way. So it's just about being vulnerable, I guess, and being able to share how you feel with other people. That really helps. And also I realised
jealousy is so ugly. It's so ugly on you.
Just because someone else is pretty or talented or smart does not negate your beauty or your talent or your intelligence. And being jealous actually manifests in your life in so many different ways. People don't want to be around you. You're robbed from feeling joy in other people's successes, and people don't want to support you, so you just end up being alone, bitter and sad. Sorry to be harsh, but it's true. And also, by celebrating other people's achievements, you're not only feeling joy for yourself, but you're feeling joy for them, which is 10 times the happiness in your life. So just thinking that way really helped me think in less of a jealous mindset, more of a supportive one. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that everyone's idea of success looks completely different. One person's goal might be to get married and start a family and own a home, while someone else's goal might be to write a book and spread their teachings across the world, and both are fine and valid. What we need to do is figure out which goals and values are individual to us and go from there. The way I think about it is that you are literally insulting your best talent when you want to be someone else. No one has the skills that you do, the talent that you do, the brain that you do. So by wanting to live someone else's life or have something that someone else has is just diminishing you as a person. Ultimately, we all have our own talents and skills to offer to the world, so spending more time figuring out what that is and how you can do that is so much more effective than chasing somebody else's. So this is definitely something that I came to terms with whilst reading Jay Shetty's Think Like a Monk. It's amazing, by the way. If you haven't read it, please read it. So he talks a lot about finding your dharma, which in simple terms is basically passion plus expertise plus usefulness. So he basically says we have a natural inclination towards something or a passion, but to find our dharma you have to combine it with expertise, so it has to be something you're good at, and usefulness, so it has to be helpful or useful to other people, so it's something that you can offer to the world. So this is definitely something that I wanted to share with you guys because it's something that I've been working towards through journaling, through meditation, through all these different reflective activities, and I definitely think it's something that would bring a lot more happiness, purpose and joy into your life. Okay, so before I go into that too much, let's just go on to number 2. So number 2 is fear is what stops you from achieving what is meant for you. So nobody ever gets what they want from their comfort zone, but I guess in our 20s it's difficult because we still care about what people think, so doing things without fearing judgment from other people, from family, from peers is very hard. Like if you think about it, how many times has fear stopped you from saying something to someone or going to that audition or sharing something with the world? Probably a lot of times, because it's definitely the case for me. So I probably wouldn't even be sitting here filming this video if I let fear take over my decision, just because I was always really scared that people would talk badly about me, people would just make fun of me. But I'm here and I'm a lot better for it. So what I've realised is fear happens when we overthink and we're thinking all of these what if scenarios, and we let those negative possible outcomes determine our decision in the moment. And the best way I've combated this is by living in the present and practicing mindfulness. And I know it's cliche, and it's cliche for a reason because it's really true. Overthinking has negatively impacted my life in so many ways. So I always try and think of how a goal or an idea makes me feel in the moment. It usually makes me feel really excited or happy, right? So I always try and stick with that instead of thinking of all of the other outcomes that could happen if I do it. Life is so unpredictable and we never know what's going to happen, but it's better you trying and failing than not doing it at all. Because usually what happens is you end up feeling so much worse not doing it. You end up feeling regretful and you're just sitting there like, why didn't I do it? The least you could do is give it a go rather than killing yourself with the what ifs later down the line. One thing to note as well is that you'll probably be pleasantly surprised by how you're embraced by other people after doing it and not giving in to fear. If you put out that confident, fearless energy, it's most likely that you're going to attract similar-minded people who will support you. A good example is my weight loss video that I put on YouTube. That is something that I've been wanting to do for years, but I never felt comfortable enough doing it. I always thought people were going to talk rubbish about me, and I put it off for so many years, but I finally did it last year and I've received such lovely feedback, and I'm so grateful for that community that I've been able to build from that video. So now I think, oh my god, what if I just didn't do it? So let's go into number 3, which is hustle culture. So hustle culture is toxic, basically, and it's something that I'm still learning to deal with and to ride the waves of, because it's hard. It's really hard because it constantly feels like everyone around you is doing something and they're being so productive and they're achieving everything and you're constantly playing catch up. But something that I've begun to come to terms with is that it's not a race, it's not a competition, which I think hustle culture is definitely rooted in. It just always feels like people are trying to outdo each other on productivity. I can't even tell you the amount of times I've heard someone be like, and then someone else would be like,
yeah, I haven't slept in 3 days.
And it's like, why is that something to be proud of? It's not. The way I think is, at the end of our lives, we're not going to look back and think, I'm so glad I did that all-nighter, or I'm so glad I worked 10 years tirelessly to build that company. No. We're going to look back at those precious memories we've been able to build with our family and friends and those little moments in our life. And that's something that always grounds me when I feel like I'm overdoing something or if I'm not giving myself a break. And I just think that giving into hustle culture can mean missing out on the best time of our lives, which they say 20s should be, and I do partially agree with that. Like, we should still be enjoying our lives and not take it so seriously. Like, we're still young, we can still go travel, make memories, welcome all these adventures into your life, because there will come a time where we want to be a bit more settled and we won't necessarily have the time to be doing all those things. So it's definitely thoughts like that that really ground me. So to combat this, I've also just tried to make sure I've got a healthy work-life balance, which I know it's not easy, but just trying to make time for things that do really make me happy, like YouTube and taking photos and writing and reading. And it's taken me months, I'm not gonna lie, it's taken me months to get to like a routine and point where I'm happy, but yeah, there's definitely still improvements to be done on that. All this talk about 20s is making me really hot. Okay, so now I've talked a little bit about hustle culture and toxic productivity, let's dig into self-care. So this is definitely something that I've learned to prioritize in my 20s. So self-care to me was always an afterthought. I could work till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening, go out for a drink after work, wouldn't get back till like 10, 11 o'clock. Obviously all I'd have time to do is prep a meal for the next day and shower and get into bed, with no time for me to sit and reflect and to just be with myself. And I guess this is because our 20s really aren't framed as our self-care, look after yourself kind of years. It's very much like a go, go, go mentality. I feel like we're usually expected to be working tirelessly to build these foundations so that we're kind of set for 30, meaning that self-care is usually shoved to the side and definitely more of an afterthought. So I've learned that self-care through the form of journaling, reading, watching my favourite TV, pampering myself, going for walks has really helped me not only be more happy but more productive in my day-to-day life. Okay, so number 5 is being single and selfish helps you nurture your relationship with yourself. So one thing that I've always believed is that we've really been socialized to be obsessed with romantic relationships and to be looking for our dream partner and to get married and to have kids and to settle down. So when that's not one of your goals, you're kind of looked at as being crazy. Also, can we just talk about the amount of comments that you get at 25 when people, aunties, whoever come up to you like,
Oh, you're 25 now. Are you speaking to anyone? When are you getting married? Oh, I know someone.
No, just leave me alone.
So I think because of this, the relationship that's often overlooked, which is the most important, is your relationship with yourself, as cheesy as it sounds. So I'm the type of person that has always been super independent, always loved my own company, always just liked being by myself, to be honest. But it wasn't until my early 20s, mid 20s now, where I've really appreciated being single and having all this free time to dedicate just to myself and I only.
Like, it's amazing. I friggin' love it.
What I will say that I've definitely learned is that you have to learn to say no to friends, to family, to whoever. You have to learn to say no, because at the end of the day you need to protect your energy. So we end up wearing so many different hats. We're a sister, we're a friend, we're this, we're that, and usually what happens is that we end up spreading ourselves too thin. It's just not doable to be there for everybody every single day. So I was definitely a people pleaser in my early 20s. I would never say no purely because I didn't want to offend or disappoint anyone, but then I realised I was disappointing myself. So I would end up getting super anxious, overwhelmed, and I just wouldn't understand why. And then I realised it's because I was so exhausted, because there was no time for me to focus on my needs or my self-care. And I guess it wasn't until like the start of last year, in the early days of the pandemic, where I started to see things a little bit clearer, with obviously no plans to go see family and friends and more time to sit and invest in myself. I realised I had time to read and to write and to educate myself and to meditate and just to do all these things that I never had before, and I'm so grateful for that, because now I've definitely been able to construct a bit more of a peaceful, well-balanced and just healthy lifestyle that I definitely did not have before. What I will say is that this is so important. It shouldn't be like a secondary priority, because if you're not happy or content or your best self, you're not going to be able to be there for someone else. And ultimately it's important because knowing yourself can transform your whole life, not only in the way you feel, but the way you are in relationships and how you present yourself as a person. You're more likely to have better relationships, demand respect, have better conversations, attract great people, and live the life that you envision for yourself.
God, I literally sound like a motivational preacher.
So I am mindful that this video is going to be quite long, so there's still so much to cover. I really want to talk more about the law of attraction, imposter syndrome, just get into the nitty-gritty bits of the 20s, but I'm thinking it might be better to do it as a part 2. So if you guys are really liking it up until now, then let me know, because I'll definitely do a part 2. So at the start of the video, I know I mentioned that I asked my Instagram followers what they thought and any advice that they'd give to people in their 20s, and I'm going to share that with you guys now. Okay guys, so that wraps up the video for today. I really hope you guys liked it and I really hope you got something from this. I honestly love talking about it and I think it's definitely something important to talk about. Like I said earlier, please do let me know if you've enjoyed it. I really want to do a part 2 as there's still so much to cover, and I'm actually thinking if there is a demand for it, I'd definitely turn it into a series, and maybe after lockdown I can bring in some guests and we can do some really nice chatty videos. My Instagram will also pop up here and I'll link it down below, so if you guys haven't followed me yet, please give me a follow. And also my DMs are always open for you guys to chat with me about the video or anything you want to talk about. To be honest, I just love speaking to you guys. But yeah, with that said, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you soon for another video. Bye!